Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're looking at the second song to be taken from the upcoming album Take Me Back to Eden by the British rock collective Sleep Token, titled The Summoning. When this song was released at the beginning of the year, it certainly got some ears perked up, and for very good reason, really showcasing what the band are truly capable of and really putting them in the spotlight, and for all the good reasons. For some, just being introduced to the band, it really showcased the band's ability to shift between styles, and for long-time fans it gave them more of what they absolutely love about this group, their ability to showcase and really try and channel a lot of new things into their music. Because the collective are unified in their worship of sleep, they do like to throw a lot of religious elements into their music, and this song is certainly no exception to that rule. So will this track be a message from God or simply in line with the devil? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds. And again, they do like to open with a lot of these softer, just very brief intros. They've done it on a number of other tracks, I mean, especially songs such as Aqua Regia and others, and I like they're just suddenly hitting you with this wall of sound, where they're really just bringing in that chugging guitar and showing off the metal elements that we are known for seeing with the group. It's something they've done on previous albums as well, really throwing in those heavier elements and really just hits us with this wall of sound before Vessel is able to come in with lyrics.
Blood trail, red in the blue. Something you say or something you do. A taste of the divine.
And already we see these religious elements coming through, and this is a song that is very ambiguous in its nature. It ties in a lot of different things. It's something the band do. They have very well known for very strong songwriting. I've got a river running right into you, I've got a blood trail red in the blue. Now this can have religious ties because of the story of Egypt, with the idea of the river Nile being turned to blood. So straight away we've got that link in there straight away. Also the idea that this song is quite kind of tailors itself more toward the idea of relationships, about this idea of sort of passion and things like that. I've got a blood trail red in the blue, kind of your blood boils and turns red, and you can, kind of red is something that kind of signals passion a lot of the time. So there's different ways that you can really look at the song. You can look at the more religious elements, you could take a look at the kind of more almost erotic elements on this, the taste of the divine, kind of experiencing that relationship as being this divine sensation, kind of being captured by something you say or something you do. You hang on every word when you really have these strong feelings for somebody, and that's shown straight off the start with that I've got a river running right into you. You're just really just engaged with this person. And again there, you've got my body, flesh and bone. It kind of ties back to the idea of Jesus, this is my body, this is my blood. And you can also have the idea of you are giving your all, you are giving your heart, soul and mind to somebody, and really just kind of, the lyrics, the sky above the earth below you, it's this idea of you'll move mountains and skies and things like that to really make it work with somebody. So, but again, it's ambiguous, it's open, you can't just draw one particular meaning from a lot of their music, and it really shows because they craft the lyrics in this way so that they can be ambiguous and really apply to people, because not everybody's going to have that religious knowledge to really tie these things in. And one thing I touched on in the Aqua Regia video that I did is actually how in the choruses and a lot of the lyrical content, they actually build the music around Vessel. Although it's a little bit different in this track because the metal elements, the instruments need to be a lot sharper, a lot higher, and we start with the chugging guitars, pounding drums. But you'll notice that when they go into a lot of the choruses and these really big build areas, they construct a lot of the instruments around Vessel, really kind of let him shine. But you'll notice they never ever overpower him. They never drown him out. And that's one of the things that they do so beautifully that really helps helps to enable them to produce so many different styles of music. And the same applies to this lyric as well. Raise me up again, this idea that you put someone on a pedestal. So we're seeing this idea of this idealization of somebody in a relationship, kind of take me past the edge. I want to kind of go to the edge of the earth with somebody effectively, and I want to see the other side. But it can also tie in with the idea of kind of instability within relationships. Kind of, you want to get past the other side. If it's a faulty relationship, you want to get out of it and see what life is like, see if the grass is greener on the other side. So there is a lot of heavy messaging that is a little bit encrypted because they don't want to just kind of put that strong singular message on the music. And you've really got to appreciate the ability on some of these screams. And this is really tying in with that idea of the summoning. So you've got this almost devil worship idea, and you're seeing a lot of the elements that really tie in around that idea. The screams, the really summoning of the devil. And this could also be, again, tying to relationships. Maybe you're with somebody who may seem good on the surface, but is actually really bad for you. They kind of have a lot of these negative traits, and it can feel like you're in a bit of a prison. And it kind of goes to that idea of hell. You're stuck in hell and you really can't escape it. But there's so many different ways that you can look at this one particular track, and there's so many ways that it can be conveyed, and it's really smart the way that the band actually construct all these ideas just in such simple ways. They're not forcing it down your throat, they're making it really simple, and they're letting you choose your own conclusions. So already we've got this transition. This is almost like a darker tone that we see compared to earlier on in the track. It was much sort of more heavenly effective. We're seeing this relationship almost break down because it has these very dark undertones now. It's almost these hushed, gnarling vocals that are really coming at you. So it's almost like something sweet has turned very sour. You've summoned the devil, you've realised what they're actually like, and now you're trying to really just get to this point where you're trying to effectively break free because you realise that you're being held back. And we saw them doing it again just then, really dropping the levels when Vessel isn't singing, and then as soon as he comes in, you bring the instruments with him, you carry him into that chorus and really sort of blast the effect and really raise him up as a singer. And it really shows just the strength of the band by being able to do this, really pull everything together and really just kind of give it that big crescendo effect, and it really makes the chorus stand out separately from a lot of the other elements in the song. And I love how we've got the contrast there between the two, so the repeated lyric, won't you show me what it's like? You've got this kind of really big split in the actual two ways that it's sung. First of all, much kind of peaceful, very heavenly almost like, and then you've got this scream version. It shows the two contrasts of that indecision effective, that devil and that angel on your shoulder, really kind of coming at you different ways in your ears. So again, they're throwing lots of contrast in with these religious ideas, really just tying little bits and pieces in just through the styling on a lot of the lyrics. And again, we're seeing something that I did touch on the Aqua Regia video again. This idea that when they want to shift styles, you'll notice that the instruments just become very stable. They just kind of play maybe one note repeated, they start to gradually drop the levels a bit, and they don't really go over the top. And it makes it much easier for them to switch into these different tones and styles, because you're just dropping the instruments out ever so slowly, rather than having this really sharp positional switch into a different style. One other thing you've really got to appreciate with this part of the actual track is how simple yet effective it is. It's just this nice, we've had this really heavy elements, we've gone into a softer tone, and they don't overload it. They keep it super simple, they just keep it, it has this simplistic ambience to it that they really try and convey. You don't need to throw a lot in because you've had those heavier elements earlier on, so just introduce a couple of instruments, keep the level low, and it gives you that kind of peace and quiet, that sort of break from the heavier elements we did see earlier in the track. And again, it's really nice to see them incorporating a lot of these classical elements. It's something that they've done throughout previous albums, and it really is just so nice and subtle. It really adds a very strong effect to the track, and we just get these slow builds. Like I say, we see two instruments maybe fading in, some others fading out. We've got this kind of like really quick pitted little drum patterns that we've got going on to bring in with the keys, just after really dropping some other elements out. So it's so great how they just gradually shift in between different instruments. And again, more religious elements really being brought in with this new style, this new shift, and it's something that I really like because it almost has this like lustful part to it. I mean, we see a lot of music such as the likes of Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye, and they used a lot of this really funky guitars and funky bass. It's often seen as a kind of a very groovy and kind of almost at times quite an erotic kind of sound to it. So I like they're really bringing it. It's almost like this new kind of form of passion is coming in. This woman all effectively has been mistaken as a sign from God, and they're really questioning that.
Or are you really here to cut me off? Or maybe just to turn me on?
And it goes back to that idea of the indecisiveness in relationships, definitely with this part. It's almost like we had the first part where it was quite lustful, there was a lot going on. There was that hatefulness when we did move towards the end of the metal section of the track. And now it's this indecisiveness. We're really seeing the variety between different stages that relationships can go through. Because some people do. They have these really good points, they have these really low points, and they also have that indecisive point where they're not really sure whether to move on. And they just really can't really put it into words how to describe their own feelings a lot of the time. They're not sure whether to stay or go.
'Cause these days I would be lying if I told you that I didn't wish that I could be your man, or maybe make a good girl bad.
We've got a nice little twist here towards the end of the bridge, or maybe make a good girl bad. This could be very self-reflective. Maybe it's not actually the woman in the relationship effectively that's the kind of the problem. Maybe it's the guy effectively that has made that good girl go bad. Maybe they have these really bad traits. So again, we've got another angle coming in a bit later in the track, but it's something they're opening new avenues at all times to really just kind of draw in these different potential messages. And it's really smart how they keep you guessing throughout the entire track. They keep so much ambiguity ambiguity in it, but they never lose the flow on the track. They never lose that message because they like to keep it so open. And it's beautiful. You've got to really admire how they managed to switch up the styles from the early refrain into this one, really just mixing up, showing two completely different sides, but carrying the effect in the music, also in the lyrics as well from Vessel, in the styling of his vocals. And it really is just a masterclass in how to show two different styles on a track. Yes, that song certainly is a masterclass in how to change styles between sections of a song, and I just love some of the elements in that. I mean, we see the metal elements, we see also the funk style, and they've incorporated that. They've looked at lots of different musical styles, and the drops in music actually did originate really in the 60s and 70s. There was a lot of funk bands that were really doing it, having these strong builds into just nothingness, into really kicking in again. So it is something that they've really looked at and really incorporated into some of this track. And even the messaging, you've got to give them credit for just how ambiguous and open they keep every single track, and really just does feel like this track does revolve around the idea of relationships, this instability, by having almost three separate ideas, or looking at three elements or sections of a relationship: the good, the bad, and that kind of middle ground, and really incorporating all elements in, but at different stages as well. I like it didn't just go from sort of bad to middle to good. They mixed it up by going from good to bad, then into middle, just really showing, using different styles to show that idea as well. And again, credit to the instruments on this as well, really kind of incorporating and playing with a lot of those styles, but never feeling weak. They feel strong in every genre that they really tackle, but again, kind of using some of the same tricks they've used in previous releases, with sort of keeping the levels a bit lower when Vessel isn't kind of speaking, or using the lyrical content and then building it around him. Was a little bit different in the intro though, just because of that metal sound. You can't really have low levels in metal, it just doesn't work, but they play with it so beautifully. So that will be everything for today's video, but if you are hearing the track for the first time, please do let me know your thoughts. And if you want to learn more about Sleep Token's music, I have got another video that I did on their track Aqua Regia, really broke that down. It certainly was a beautiful and magnificent track, really showing a different style as well, much softer tones compared to the Summoning. But please do be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below about this particular track, and if you want to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.